Hey kids, so today's lesson is all about where our treasures are. And you may be thinking to yourself, whoa, Pastor Gary, I don't have any treasures. Treasures are things that we consider important. And you know, the Bible actually talks a lot about the things that we treasure or we value. Like for example, there's an amazing verse that Miss Dawn is going to share with us right now. Take it away, Dawn.
Hi kids, Dawn here with a Bible verse for you from the New Testament, Matthew 6, verses 20 and 21. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Now what that Bible verse is talking about is how some people spend all their time trying to save up treasure. They try to be rich, or they try to have all the coolest toys, or maybe they want to have the fanciest car. But someday, those things will all get rusty and rotten, the car will break. They aren't things that last forever. But if we spend our time doing what's really important, like being kind and learning about Jesus and sharing him with others, what we're doing is we're saving up treasures in heaven forever, things that can never break and never be destroyed.
Thanks, Dawn. That is an amazing passage. And it helps us to understand the idea that our treasures need to be in the right place. And if we put too much emphasis on our treasures in our lives, then that can run us into problems. And when we think about treasures, you may be thinking, well, like a pirate treasure. But let's think a little bit broader. Maybe some of you are thinking about Christmas. Christmas? Wait, I need a Christmas hat. Just a second. Yeah, that one will do. Okay, this is the worst Christmas hat ever, but thank you, lady behind the camera. So, when it comes to Christmas, this is so annoying. When it comes to Christmas, oh wait, prop lady has another hat. Thank you. Prop lady can't throw. So when it comes to Christmas, kids, you may be already thinking what you want. What you want on your Christmas list, that you're thinking, oh, I want Santa to bring me this, or I want mom and dad, aka the other Santas, to give me for Christmas. And that may be, I don't know, what do you want these days? A new entertainment system, like gaming system or something like that. Maybe for some of you other older kids, you might want, I don't know. I know what I wanted when I was a kid. I like hats. Give me another one. Oh, this one's perfect. Because what it reminds me of are elf ears, which are sort of like Spock from Star Trek. Anyways, we all have different things that we consider important. And the challenge with those is giving them the right place in our lives, but not too much place in our lives. Because if we try to manage both what we want from God and what we want to give to him with the other things in our lives that we think are so amazing, we end up in a position where we're trying to juggle stuff. Juggling can bring interesting consequences. So when people think that they can have money and God, or other things, treasures and God, it's really like they're trying to do something that adults try to do a lot. When we're trying to manage two things at the same time, we talk about juggling our lives. Well, juggling is an interesting art. You can get decently good at it, but the problem is that these are the same size. They're the same thing. When it comes to juggling God and the treasures in your life, it gets a little more interesting. Like, for example, juggling a ball and a pepper. Doesn't quite work the same, does it? What about a ball and a rubber chicken? Of course, right? Because, you know, they're two different things. Gotta try that again. I did actually practice this. That was a bit of a recovery there. One more time. You see, what happens is when they're different sizes and you're trying to juggle things, sometimes one gets in the way of the other and you can't keep it all together at the same time. And when things really get different, like say juggling, I don't know, a cucumber and a ball, well, now you're just starting to get into a salad, which makes me hungry, which makes me think, hey, could I juggle a ball and a sandwich? Why not?
Ew. That was my lunch.
The point, kids, is that when we're trying to juggle two different things, it doesn't work that well. And if we're trying to juggle God and the treasures in our lives and make them all work together, it doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't.
Here's a cool song that talks about this.
Matthew 6, 20 and 21. Matthew 6, 20 and 21.
Store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. There your heart will be also. Where your treasure is, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. There your heart will be also. Where your treasure is. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. There your heart will be also. Where
comes Pastor Gary.
Did you see the juggling? I used to be good at it, but the problem is you can't juggle things that are just so weirdly different. And that's why it can be really, really tough when we have a lot of things that we treasure, that we value, because then we're doing something that Jesus said was just about impossible. He had this amazing passage where he used an exaggeration, a hyperbole. And he said, he was talking about a rich man who, when he challenged him about doing things for the kingdom of God, this rich guy went away sad because he didn't think he could do that. And Jesus looked at his disciples and he said, it's hard for rich people to enter into the kingdom of heaven. It's really hard. In fact, it's so hard, it's like a camel trying to go through the eye of a needle. Think about that for a moment. The eye of a needle is ridiculously small. You put like thread to it when you're doing sewing. And Jesus used that as an example of something that's just about impossible. A great big camel going through the eye of a needle. And his disciples looked at that and went, what? Because they thought that being rich actually made it easier to get into heaven. Because when you're rich, well, you can do all of these things for God. And you don't have to worry about working hard and focusing on just trying to get by. They saw rich people as having a big advantage. Jesus looked at it and went, actually, all of that stuff that they have gets in the way. And that's what we need to be thinking about. And whether it's Christmas, a prop just fell out of my hat. Whether it's Christmas or whether it's any other time of year, like our birthday or, Halloween with candy or Easter with chocolates, or maybe different things that we get interested in our lives. Maybe our sports teams, maybe our schoolwork even. Sometimes we can be so obsessed, overly fixated on things in our worlds around us that we can't focus on God. Jesus said that's a problem. So, kids, when it comes to treasures, we have to keep them in the right perspective. We have to keep them manageable. Okay? Clearly, the prop lady feels I need something else at this point. Really? It's like a camel with no hump. It's a horsey hat.
It's a reindeer.
Does this really look like a reindeer, kids? I don't think so. Okay, the camera lady is saying it's time to go, so I'm gonna giddy up and leave the stage. Bye.
And now, a word from some of our friends.
Hi, I'm Izzy. Hi, Dada. This is Connor. Dada. Hi, I'm Izzy. This is Connor. We're all free at the Rock Garden having fun. This is our tree house, the Rock Garden tree house.
Do you have any treasures? Your sister's your treasure? Did you just kick your treasure? That's not good, Avery.
That was cray. Hey, we're gonna play a game now. So gather some friends around to play with you. Could be your brother, your sister, could be your mom and dad. Gather your friends around. You've only got a few seconds. Or you can pause. kids, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll see you next time.
That'll make you go cray cray.